Ice baths had become the next big thing in recovery, and I wanted to find out for myself if ice baths really work. My name is Jake, and I am always looking for new ways to improve my life. So join me as I put Soma Recovery's Pro Ice Barrel to the test by testing it every day for a week to see if it will help me recover enough for my first ever 10k run. Day 1 of the challenge and the British weather has gifted me with sun. I filled up the ice bath, recorded the temperature, and it was time to plunge.
Oh, it's cold!
I took the approach to slowly submerge myself into the water, and it felt so cold. Once I was fully in the water, I felt like I could slow down and start to relax. I had only planned to be in the water for about 5 minutes, but after filming, 15 minutes had suddenly passed. At this point, I decided I should try dipping my arms in.
Oh, it feels so much colder.
But this was too much too soon. This made the water feel so much more intense. How many days will it take before I get used to this?
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
I think I stayed in that ice bath for too long. I'm freezing, and it's been about 20 minutes since I've been in there, and I'm shivering still. Good morning. It's just gone 6 o'clock, and I've just rolled out of bed, and I'm not starting my day with a nice coffee. I'm starting my day with an ice bath. Today I decided to tackle the ice bath first thing in the morning, and I wanted to limit my time plunging, as yesterday I was cold for hours after the bath. It felt just as hard to get into the plunge as yesterday, and once again I took the slow approach to plunging. Once I was in the bath, I thought about Wim Hof, and I started doing some deep breathing. This deep breathing allowed me to relax and enjoy the morning sun, and this was a lovely change. I typically just sit at my computer with a coffee first thing in the morning, so sitting outside and seeing the golden morning light was a delightful change. It just made me feel happy. Despite this, once 7 minutes had been and gone, I couldn't wait to get out. My legs did feel really good after this plunge, almost as if they had been healed. Will this help me recover enough for my 10k run? It's day 3, 6 a.m. I've just got out of bed, and I'm going to get in this ice bath as fast as I can, because last time I got in so slowly. I want to go in and just get in there as quickly as possible, and I'm going to try and put my arms in as well. It's looking a little bit murky. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, slow down.
Today I managed to set myself a new personal record for the speed that I got into the ice bath. It was still slower than I wanted, but it was progress. I decided it was time to try dunk my arms in again, and suddenly it felt freezing again. And then I started getting these strange heart palpitations that kept making me cough. Before I knew it, my timer had gone off and I had spent 9 minutes submerged in the ice bath. This time I headed straight for a hot shower, and I really feel like this is the way to go now following a plunge. But that 10k run is still looming in the back of my mind. Am I staying in the plunge long enough for me to recover for it? Once I got out the shower, I decided to add some cleaning salts to the bath in the hopes that it would get rid of the cloudy water. It was one of the hottest days of the year, and I decided to go skateboarding before my ice bath, and this was the first skate that I've had in 5 years. When I got home, I thought it'd be best to empty the water out and move the bath to the shade. My legs were getting pretty stiff from skateboarding, so I thought it time to add some ice to the water. While the ice melted quickly, it did make the water feel so much colder. I tried dipping my shoulders further into the plunge, and it felt so much more intense. With this newfound chill, I thought it finally time to dunk my head. Fully submerging in the plunge actually felt very refreshing. I think tomorrow I'll take it a step further. Day 5 was one of the best days of the challenge so far. I started the day very stiff from skateboarding, so this will make a great test of recovery for the ice bar. I was able to get into the plunge very quickly and it felt great. So I quickly moved on to dunking and managed to dunk 3 times, whilst also testing how long that I could hold my breath for each time. Throughout the first 5 days of this challenge, I've learned that you don't need ice for the plunge to work. The water only being 20 degrees is still enough for you to get cold. I was shivering after today's plunge, but it was a great time, and despite dunking more than usual, I didn't have that long-lasting chill that I had on the first few days. Perhaps I'm finally getting used to it. I woke up today and my legs were even more sore than yesterday, so I decided to go all out for today's plunge. With the challenge ending soon and my 10k run approaching, I needed to get all the recovery that I could if I had any hope of completing the run. I refreshed the water in the bath and added all the ice that I could find, and it was finally time to plunge. While the ice definitely made the water much more cold, it still melted very quickly. I wanted to push myself in the hopes that it would heal my legs, and between multiple full dunks, I managed to stay in the bath for 15 minutes. With 1 day left for recovery, is there still enough time for my legs to heal for that 10k run? The last day of recovery is here, and I had no ice left. I got into the ice bath as fast as I could and went straight into dunking. If I wanted to feel good for my run, I had to dunk as many times as I could and push my limits. If I didn't push myself now, this whole week of recovery would be wasted. So I stayed in the water until I was shivering, and just before I was about to get out, I took 1 extra dip. Then it was time for another hot shower. Will this week of ice bath recovery have healed my aches and pains enough to let me run a new distance of 10k? Only tomorrow will tell. I was terrified going into this run. I have never run further than 5k, and the wind was working against me. Getting started, my legs felt good, which was a shock as only yesterday my legs felt very sore. The run was going as planned until I hit the 4k mark. My Achilles tendon on my left foot started hurting so much that I had to start limping. My mind was screaming at me, telling me to stop. I started to imagine my Achilles tendon snapping, and I couldn't stop questioning whether I should stop running. But I kept it to just thoughts and I kept going. When I hit that 5k mark, I had to take 30 seconds to shake my foot out. Then we went straight back into it. This final 5k was a mental battle. Everything in my mind was telling me to stop, and I just had to keep going. I couldn't let this week of ice bath recovery be for nothing. I had to keep pushing. My body started rebelling against me. My right knee started hurting with every step. My muscles began to ache. My mind was screaming, but I kept putting 1 foot in front of the other, and somehow it was working. I was almost there, 10k in sight. I could now see the finish line, and I just had to hold it together. No sprinting, no stopping, just keep going. And then I did it. A new distance. I had managed to run my first ever 10k, and I did it in 1 hour, 11 minutes. And I couldn't think of a better way to celebrate.